Hi, I'm Will, and our instrument is called the MIDI Slide. But we took inspiration from the lap steel, which is kind of like a guitar in the sense that it has strings. However, it's flat, and the user plucks strings while it's flat as opposed to a normal guitar. We chose to have a remote control, and the 4 strings are just 4 long soft pots which allow the user to select a note and then click the corresponding button on the controller to select the note. So here you can see we have lights to indicate which button is being pressed. Or sorry, which string. And then you can also select the note of each string by pressing. We use an acrylic sheet with some etching to get the note lines for our strings. And we have several dials and buttons as well. The first one controls the root note, so right now it's on C. And there's several different options, and you can change what the starting note is. Next we have the tuning mode. We have open tuning, 6th, 7th, 4ths, and 5ths tunings. We also have an octave up and down button. So when you press these buttons, it'll set the octave higher. So right now, and it'll go up and down 8 octaves. And finally, a volume knob, so you can change the volume as you play. 4 FSRs that allow for pressure reading. As you can see, the strength of the LEDs is also tied to how hard you're pressing down the button. See, if I tap it very lightly, it just turns on a little bit and the volume is very quiet. We have an Arduino Mega in the main pad that's controlling the 4 soft pots and the knobs and the LEDs and the octave on switch. This is the main brain of our device. It's sending a long string to the max patch, which is integers from 0 to 1,000 that just represent the value of the sensors. Our controller actually has its own microcontroller inside to do the wireless communication and also process all of the sensors in the controller. I can show here. We have a 9-volt battery to keep it wirelessly powered, and then an Arduino Nano, which is processing the data from the 4 FSRs. And also, there are 2 other sensors in here, which are the accelerometer and the joystick. The accelerometer controls 3 different things. It has reverb. It controls the tremolo rate and amount. Next, we have the joystick on top. The main feature of the joystick is that clicking it down will change it from tapping mode to plucking mode, as we call it. Plucking mode is what you've been seeing. It's when you press a button and then that activates the corresponding note. But tapping mode allows you to not use the controller and simply press the note on the string that you want to play, and that will cause the note to play. Final use of the joystick is that there are 4 cardinal directions of it, and each flick direction is an on and off toggle for 4 different settings. So we have the chorus, phaser, reverb, and overdrive. Right now all of them are off, but I'm going to demonstrate each of them one by one. So first we have chorus. And then phaser. And reverb. And finally we have overdrive. We have a few pegs here on the side and a guitar strap. So the idea is the device will be strapped to someone's chest, and you can select notes like this, and the controller will be in your other hand. One of the other knobs, as I may have said earlier, is quantization. This is something that we took inspiration from the Lehrman. When you slide the note up and down, so as you heard right there, it's completely smooth, but we have a setting where it'll automatically put some gravity on what the current note is and have it be quantized to the nearest note, just to make it easier to play, because this is a completely smooth analog string. And if we turn it all the way up to half steps, it'll quantize to the nearest half step as you click play. And you can change the strength of how close the note is to the nearest half step before it quantizes. So this is like halfway in between. So it's still smooth, but you have some of the quantization features in there. We have multiple samples added in the reason patch. Here we have our max patch. The Arduino sends the data in a large string of integers separated by a space. First we take that serial string and then unpack the string into 22 different integers, which all represent the different controllers. And then we have 4 different strings, so 4 different soft pots. Each of those gets sent a reason as a pitch bend on their own instrument, so that way we can have 4 different notes going simultaneously. And inside the soft pot max patch, as I was saying earlier with the gravity well settings, the integer, which is 0 to 1200, gets quantized to the nearest integer based on what the gravity well setting is. So if it's at 0, then there's no quantization, but if it's all the way, then it'll be every 50 or 100. But the FSRs will automatically send whatever value they have through these, which will basically communicate with whatever the current string is being pressed, and then send the note out to reason. And depending on whether or not you're in tapping mode or plucking mode, it'll either send based on the FSR mini patch, or it'll just take whatever note is currently being expressed on the note whenever there's a change and send that as a note out. Finally, we have something at the end that checks whether both octave switches are being pressed, and it says if, it'll switch the instrument to switch the channel that the reason patch is reading. It sounds like slightly flat.